with this new YouTube Hangout format. But all right, so I guess just tell us real quick, because some of us know each other from the 3-day event. Some of us are seeing some faces that are probably new, and maybe we'll just start with Yashu, because he's right here with me. And Yashu can kind of just start, and just in like 30 seconds or less, what are some things that you're most excited about, and what are some things that you're most nervous about?
Most excited about getting the systems in place that you talked about during the 3-day event. Looking forward to getting anything lined up and doing the open houses and everything. One thing that I'm really scared about, which I'm not good at, is to ask people. But I did make an attempt this week. I called 2 of my big past clients and asking for referrals and stuff like that. So it didn't go bad. Didn't get anybody from it, but we had the conversation with them, so that was a good thing for me.
Nice, fast. I thought. All right, that's like half the battle. So perfect. How about you, Sean?
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear Sean, yeah.
Let me see if I'm on mute. Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I got back home in Arizona on Friday and did my open house on Saturday. It put me in the right mindset. It was at a $500,000 listing when my previous open houses would be at 300 or 400,000. So I'm trying to use the strategy of increasing the list price or asking prices. And then I don't know if it's the universe or positive abundance, but I wrote 2 contracts on Saturday.
Wow.
Wow, congrats.
Ooh, virtual high five.
So I don't know if it was the momentum. Yahoo, yeah, Yahoo. I don't know if it was the momentum from the 3-day workshop, but these are both clients. One is a friend from 10 years ago, and then the other one was a referral from another client. I showed him 2 houses, and we wrote a contract on the second house. And it's about what Jonathan has taught us, is attracting the right clients, the right referrals.
Nice. Awesome.
My friend from 10 years ago, he wanted to write a contract on a new build, so the second contract was a new build.
Beautiful. Nice job. Awesome.
My goal for this week is to get my goal for this week is to get the postcard down, because I want to start sending out postcards like Jonathan said to do in the luxury markets.
Awesome. Sounds great. That will definitely get you a different caliber of inquiry seller lead.
Hey,
awesome.
everybody, it's Stacy.
Hey, Stacy.
I'm going to do the thing that hi everyone. I'm going to do the thing that I always do and say, if you're not talking, you should put your computer on mute, because otherwise it's really crazy. Good job, Sean.
Thank you.
Awesome. Who else wants to share? What's been a highlight, or what's been a challenge so far?
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
I had a listing presentation on Thursday night, and we're still in the process of trying to finalize it. There's another agent that got in there before me, working on turning the people. But what strategies do you have for that?
Awesome. Say it one more time, Greg.
Just for a listing presentation, Jonathan, if they've already been speaking with another agent, I guess then the other agent referred somebody to do their roof for them, so they feel obligated because of that. You know, what's a good way to go in and turn those people?
Ooh, great question. Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, you're kind of competing with other realtors, and this seller is like, hey, this other realtor is already helping us. They helped us refer us this roof person or this and that. I would say this. I'd go back to the main three, which the main three is, and I'm just going to mute Kurt here real quick, and then I think we should all be muted. Okay, so so the main three is, hey, yay! The main three is the three things, which are your home is going to sell or not sell based on the price, based on the marketing, and based on the realtor that you use, right? And price-wise, we got to get your price in line with what's realistic. Two is marketing. So I'm going to over-market your house. And I think it's good to use that phrase. I'm going to over-market your house. And I'm going to over-market it two different ways. One, on the online side, and two, on the sorry about that. So I'm gonna let me start at the beginning again. And I think there's a whole bunch of people not on this call, so I apologize for you guys. There should be up to 50 people allowed, but I think somehow YouTube has it maxed out at 10. So anyway, for those of you who are watching this recording, I'll make sure YouTube gets that fixed the next time that we're doing this. Because I'm probably getting tons of text messages right now going, what the heck? So anyway, okay, so your home is going to sell or not sell based on three things: price, marketing, and then the realtor that you use. Price is really, really important. We got to find the right price. Number two is marketing, and we're going to over-market your house. I'm going to over-market it two ways: one, on print, and two, on online. And here's an example of, you know, my print brochure, or an example of a print brochure. And it's going to be 12 pages in length. The print marketing is just, it's so different. It's so different than just your typical 12 pages, because it's a lot more than that. It's the fact that we understand what people are doing when they're pulling a brochure, right? They're already saying they like the house. That's why we have a really big interior photo on the main, you know, photo. We have really clear, like, give us a call. We'll set up a private showing for you. We don't have a lot of text talking about nonsensical stuff. It's, you know, a really straight, kind of forward to the point brochure. And the only thing we want that brochure to do is for that client to then give us a call. And when that client gives us a call, and I'm doing all this, Greg, at the listing appointment. And so when I do this call, then I follow page 57. And then a lot of times, Greg, and this is Greg from Florida who asked the question, is I'm going to pull up 3 to 5 brochures of other homes around the neighborhood, and I'm going to bring those to the listing presentation, and I'll show the seller these other forms, right? And then I'll just start calling the realtors. And I'm pretty sure I did this at the 3-day event. If not, then tisk on me. I should have done it at the 3-day event. But I just start calling the realtors. And if they pick up the phone, which is pretty rare, I just kind of say, hey, what's the backyard like? And they kind of answer that question, and then it just kind of falls off from there. And I'm pretty much like, okay, cool, well, hey, thanks, see you later. And I think sellers understand that, and they see that as a massive difference. And then secondly, I'm going to talk to them about online. And so online marketing is a huge difference. And I'm going to make sure that that home is on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, and is highly, you know, featured on those sites. And the way I do that is I'm paying Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. I'm not sure if it's $50 or $100, but I want to make sure I'm there. Realtor.com, and is highly. I want to make sure I'm their highest level, person. Okay, so, and then the realtor that you use. And so the realtor that you use is really, really important, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, because it used to be you could just do the 3 Ps and your house would sell. And the 3 Ps are put a sign in the yard, put it on MLS, and then pray that it sells. And I do those 3 things, but I do a whole host of other things as well. And this is what tends to cause homes to sell faster for more money and, you know, with less stress on you. And so, yeah, I'd love to have the opportunity to crush it and to work for you, you know, and then go over my 3 promises. You guys remember what those are? Yashus, and you on the hot seat sitting next to me.
I'll be on time.
Yeah.
I will be brutally honest with you.
Yeah.
And the 3rd one escapes me.
I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do.
Okay, exactly. I'm going to do what I say.
Yeah. And then the 3 things I'm going to be doing with you and for you are, okay, I'm going to consult with you, right? I'm going to make sure that you make a great, wise decision every step of the way. 2 is I'm going to negotiate for you. I'm going to treat your money like it's my money. And then 3rd, I'm going to handle all the details for you. And if you ever get stumped in the green machine, and I sent everybody the green machine, you should be getting it today if you don't have it already. But if you flip to the center part, this kind of gray, oh, yay, I put all these in here for us. So I put in the 3 promises. I put in the, hey, as my newest client, you know, bottom line, I'm gonna get the job done properly for you. I'm not gonna let you down. And then the performance guarantees, right? The buyer ones, the seller ones. And so then, Greg from Florida, I'm going over, hey, so here's my seller performance guarantees, right? And you know, I guarantee I'll get your home sold in 63 days or less. If not, I write you a check for $2,400. 2 is I guarantee this will be the best selling experience you've ever had. And if not, then I owe you a check for $1,000 or 2 Apple iPads. And then 3rd is you can cancel working with me, Greg from Florida, having me sell your home at any time for any reason. And then I dive into, so cool. So now that I've told you a little bit about myself, then I'm going to ask these questions, right? And these questions are the 7 questions of, I don't know, I should come up with some fancy term for it, but it's just 7 questions. And it's, you know, hey, so what's important about selling the home to you? And tell me more. And what happens when you imagine this? And what happens if you don't get that? And oh my gosh, you know, so what would that really do for you? And after that question, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th question. I like to put, you know, what would that do for you? And if I could retype some more words in there, I'd say like in 1 word or phrase. So in 1 word or phrase, what would that do for you? And what that is starting to do now is really crystallize for people what it is that they truly, truly want. And then, okay, so cool. So how would it feel for you to accomplish that? Whatever it is that, you know, they want to accomplish. And then is that what you really want? And voila. And so I find that when I do that, Greg, and really when anybody does that, because this is so duplicatable, repeatable, like anywhere, it's people want to do business with you because you've just way over delivered what a traditional realtor will deliver. Does that kind of make sense, Greg?
Yeah, and sorry, I was having some technology issues here on my end, so I only managed to catch about 2/3 of that. I was trying to switch between my phone and my laptop and my desktop, and yeah. So, anyways, Yeah, I ended up actually doing the majority of that. You know, as far as Three Promises, basically, and actually brought with them. They were literally hot off the press, my 12-page brochures, because I just had them done on another property.
Nice.
About an hour before we had this listing presentation, so I showed them that. And then the other thing that they had was there's an open building permit on their house from 2006. So it was never properly closed out, so they're having issues with that. And I, you know, I have my engineer fixing that for them as we speak. So I'm kind of going above and beyond to just set myself that much more apart from whatever the other agent was that went in there. So we, you know, I guess we'll have to wait and see how it goes at this point.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so I'm thinking real quick in my brain. So what I like to do after all that is it's really important to ask, right? It kind of goes back to that formula that, gosh, if I had tattoos, it'd be all over my body, which is thank you, offer, ask.
Yeah.
Thank you, offer, ask. And so I like to say, well, based on what you told me, you know, with the answer to the 7 questions, I recommend we get your home sold. And so let's do this. You know, here's the listing papers, and let's sign.
Okay.
And it's because I don't want to assume anything. Does that make sense? It's like I don't know. We dropped our son off at college yesterday, and I don't want to assume that he knows that I really love him and that I value him. So he probably didn't like it, but I hugged him in the group of like 6,000 freshmen, and hey, Connor, I love you, right? And I start to cry. Katie starts to cry. Connor's like, "What are you guys doing?" Right? But that's does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So it's like it's really important that we, gosh, when we go through this whole thing, that we're like, okay, so Fred and Sally. So gosh, based on what you told me, I recommend that we just get your home listed, and we get it, you know, listed properly. Oh my gosh, I'm going to do all this coming soon type of stuff. So, you know, let's get rolling. You know, this is where you sign, and then let them tell me no. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's funny too, because the husband, it's amazing how much obligation people seem to have for other people when chances are that, you know, they just pulled a name out of Yellow Pages and for a referral as far as the roofer. So
Gotcha. Well, so everybody on the call, especially those of you who are at the 3-day event, what are some things that you could recommend that Greg either should have done at that listing appointment or even could do now to help him solidify this? Anybody got anything?
It's Stacy, and I have the good fortune of having a home inspector as a husband. But I think, you know, unless the roof is already being put on, I would have said, you know, it's always a good idea to have at least 3 bids. And these are guys I have a couple people that I can absolutely vouch for because they've done work for my husband or for me or for friends, and they're really good. So also have a whole bunch of other resources, you know, that might help you out in the long run. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's great.
That was actually one of the angles that I tried playing, was because obviously, you know, I know I'm in the building industry as well. I built spec homes, so I've got a lot of contacts that I could get these guys in contact with, and which is why I have an engineer right now trying to clear up this whole mess of an elevated deck that they have at the moment, and he's getting that all taken care of for me. So, you doing the best I can to try to go above and beyond and win it at this point.
Awesome. Anybody else got anything real quick? Otherwise, I got something to add. But I want to open the floor. Okay. Hey, is that Dan McGinnis there? Dan, I think I got you on mute, my friend. Let me see if I can unmute you. I can't unmute you. You have to maybe unmute yourself. Okay, so what
Did I unmute myself or not?
you did. Hello, Dan McGinnis.
Hi there.
What would you do in that situation?
I don't know if Tell Me More would be the place to bring that up or not.
I like it. I like it. I like it. I would. And so I would be like, hey, okay, so this is bringing back memories of me working with Brad Olson, and I'm going to see Brad, Jeff, Christy, Greg. These are 3 realtors that used to work with me in Minnesota that I'm going to see them in, like, I don't know, 2 weeks from now. But anyway, like Brad, he has this mentality of he's got to fix everything, right? And he was the gentleman who's like, hey, I'm going to go paint exterior of houses because I'm just tired of doing real estate. I have the mentality of I'm not going to fix anything. I just want to list the house and sell the house. And so I bring that up because sometimes a seller wants to get everything right with the house, right? Or they say they do, but they really don't. Does that make sense? They just want to be done with it. It's kind of like if I was going to trade in one of my cars for a new car, I might give it a 30-minute car wash, but I'm not going to change the oil, change the timing belts. That's about all I know about cars. Change the tires, and go down this list of these 100 things I'm going to change. I just want to get rid of the car. Does that make sense? And so what I realized is that by the time a potential seller calls me, they're the same way. They just want to kind of get rid of this thing. Does that make sense? It doesn't mean they want to fire sale it, but they just want to kind of get rid of it. And so I tell people all the time, or ask people, tell me more. So they go, hey, we're fixing this elevated deck that wasn't permitted. And I go, oh, tell me more about that. And they go, blah, blah, blah. And I go, oh, that's cool. Tell me more about that. Da, da, da. I go, okay, that's cool. Tell me more. Da, 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 da. And then eventually I'm going to say, well, hey, if we could get your home sold without you fixing this elevated roof, deck, whatever, would that be okay with you? And do you know what most sellers say? They say yes. And then lo and behold, I'm the,
Yes.
how do I phrase it even? I'm the dumbest realtor in the city, but people are choosing me because I'm the dumbest realtor in the city. Does that make sense? They just want it done. It doesn't mean they want it fixed. They want it done. Does that make sense? Now, on the calling my friends, and they say, hey, we want a new deck put on, then I don't go, well, that's a dumb idea. Well, then I refer them a nice deck person or this person. Does that make sense? And so, so yeah, that's what I would do. Does that make sense, Greg?
Yeah, it does.
Otherwise, I could potentially list a house 6 months, 9 months after I meet somebody.
Yeah.
And in reality, they just want it done as soon as possible. And worst case, if there's a hole in the roof, then it'd be like, hey, there's a hole in the roof. We're probably going to have to get that fixed, but we just need to get that fixed before closing.
Well, yeah, the problem with the deck right now is just that since it still has a permit that was never closed out originally, is putting a cloud on it. So
cool. So I would still look the person in the eye and title with a cloud just went over my head. Like maybe I'm supposed to know what that means, but I don't. And I would just say, hey, that's cool. I guarantee you we'll get this solved before closing. But what we need to do, we've got to get your house on the market today. Whoops, I'm gonna get my famous calendar out, or clock. You see what time it is? Anybody?
Now.
No. So like this.
25 after now.
Yeah, so it's 25 after now. Exactly. Thank you, Dan. It's like I want to help this person now, because for whatever reason they want to sell their house and get to someplace else on global Earth because of some reason, somehow, some way. So let's do this, and let's get your let's get your house listed today. I mean, I'm a professional real estate consultant. We're going to take care of these things as needed. But right now, we just got to get your house listed, because everybody on global Earth, nobody knows that you want to sell your house. The only person that knows you want to sell your house is me, these other 100 realtors you're talking to, and this roofing contractor, right? And we got to expose it to the 2 million people in your area. And that's what's going to get your home sold. And what we can do, we can put in the MLS, that, hey, this hole in the roof will be fixed before closing. Hey, the cloud on Title IX, whatever, will be titled before closing. Does that make sense? Like that's not, if I had a backpack with bricks in it, all that stuff would weigh me down, and I'd be so focused on minutia that I wouldn't be able to, I'm gonna grab my green machine out, I wouldn't be able to be focused on this stuff. Does that make sense? These are the conversations, the 25 hours of conversations I gotta have a week, right? And there's nothing in here that says fix title issues or escrow issues. Like that's an escrow situation or a title situation. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Which is really different, because most realtors, we want to control everything. Does that make sense? And I'm like, nah. Because, let's see if I can tilt my computer screen. You see those 5 people back there on that photo? That's who I want to be spending my time with if I have free time. Does that make sense? Or I want to spend my free time with you guys, help you guys out, right? I should have a big photo of you guys up there too. But if I become the hero and solve the title issue, do you know what that seller's going to expect next of me?
What's that?
To solve the next blah 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 issue, or the building permit issue, or the fill in the blank issue. And it's like, man, I'm just a realtor. Like, if you want to sell your home faster for more money, less stress, I'm a good fit for you. If you want to buy your dream home, I'm a good fit for you. Or if you want to go feed the ducks, like, I'm a good fit for you. Does that make sense? But as far as solving title, whatever issues, yeah, that's a title company. But I'll refer you to Vicki Everly, and she'll crush it for you. But the key is, let's get your house on the market and get it sold. Because, see, in my brain, when I work with a seller now, I'm always rushing against this clock of now, because hypothetically, I don't know, let's say something bad really happens, right? Like this weekend, there were a couple of bad things that probably happened. I know, like in Minnesota, some ISIS person stabbed a bunch of people. I think America dropped a bomb on some Syrian soldiers. Like, we weren't supposed to do that, and we killed like 50, soldiers we shouldn't have killed. I don't know. Who knows what the next time bomb's going to be, where housing market drops 20% in a month. And then if that house drops 20% in a month, Greg, is that couple going to be like, hey, I'm so glad we got the deck Title IX worked out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, some person goes rogue and shoots Donald Trump or shoots Hillary Clinton. I mean, housing is going to drop a whole bunch, along with a whole bunch of other icky stuff that goes on. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I'm constantly telling sellers, I'm like, man, if you want to move on to whatever, so you can spend more time with your grandkids, or doesn't matter what it is, let's do it now. Don't wait. Just like a buyer would. So if I get a buyer lead, one of the reasons I'm able to get them into a house within 3 to 10 days from the lead coming into me is because I'm wearing this clock basically around my neck, not physically, but this is just ticking inside of me, where it's like, man, this person inquired about a house. Let's go get them a house today. Let's go get them a house within 3 to 10 days, right? It's that now mentality of, just like when you go to Starbucks or McDonald's, when you walk through the front door, when do you want your food or beverage?
Immediately.
Now. And even if McDonald's is like, hey, we're out of napkins, do you still want your Big Mac? What would most of us say?
Now.
Yeah. And if they're like, hey, you know what? We ran out of plastic cups, so we got to pour your coffee in a goblet-looking thing. What would we say?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. So Dan and I, we've been hanging out since like March. So Dan is fully understanding how my brain works and how other humans' brains works. And your results, Dan, since March, have they been pretty good?
It's been my best year in the last.
Oh, it's been your best year since when?
In the past 37 years.
Nice. It's awesome. So tell us more about it.
And I took a month off, and I took off a month to get my right shoulder replaced.
That's awesome.
Ready to go to work. I'm ready to go to work now. I've got a list. I've got a list of 2,000 loan officers. I finally, after 3 months, learned how to do it, Jonathan. Instead of driving from bank to bank, I've called 100. I've called about 100 out of 2,000, and I've got my list marked. So every day I call 10 to 20 loan officers. I have 1 appointment today. I had 3 appointments last week with loan officers.
Nice. Oh my gosh.
Yahoo!
Yeah. So basically, it's been your best year, but really you've worked like 6 months out of the year, and
Yeah.
you took 1 month off to have to fix your arm thing over here. That's awesome, Dan. And not only is it your best year financially in your last 37, are you feeling pretty good, or is it like drudgery to go to work every day?
I have never felt as happy and excited ever in the last, since about April. It took me about a month, and then it took another month, and now I'm realizing I've got 2 or 3 other questions I'm going to have to discuss with you, because I'm not doing them 100% right on the script. But I keep telling myself, wait a minute, big change doesn't come right away. It's a work in process, and I mean, this is the most exciting time of my life. Meeting you is the best. Meeting you is the best thing that has ever happened to me, other than my wife.
Oh, that's kind of you. That's good that you put your wife way up there. That's awesome, Dan. And the cool part is, like, Dan is not he's not doing 100% everything correct, but that's okay. Does that make sense? What Dan is doing, he's, I'm gonna have to borrow your book, Yashu. Dan's doing, when he's interacting with people, he's understanding now means now, and he's doing this stuff, right? Hey, my 3 promises, the 3 things I'm gonna be doing with you and for you. Bottom line, I'm gonna get the job done. Here's my seller guarantees. Here's my buyer guarantees. And he's really asking for the business. Does that make sense? Like, hey.
Jonathan?
Yeah.
Last month, when I was in 2 different hospitals, a week apart, I asked 5 nurses and both anesthesiologists, I want to ask you for some help. And they stood at attention. And I only want your help if you're comfortable. And they stop and listen. If you're not comfortable, I'll understand. And they're like really right into it here, you know. And fair enough. And that's so much fun to do that. And it's so much fun. I mean, I get more leads that way than I ever have in the past 37 years.
And to me,
You're saying, do you know anybody who wants to buy or sell a house? You don't say that. You say, I'd like to ask you for some help, and just, you know, pause and just go through it, and you have their full undivided attention, because they think, gosh, he probably wants to borrow $10. He missed the bus or something, you know.
yeah, it's I agree. So okay, so that's a good transition point. It's a good transition point into our calendar, right? And to truly do this stuff. And there's a couple things on the calendar that gotta happen if you want to have a easy, lucrative, and fun business. One of them is you gotta call your ultimate 200, right? These are people that are just already know you, like you, trust you. These might be service provider people. They might be past clients. They might be current clients, but it's 200 people. And so you should have a list of 200 people that you can call, like with a telephone, and have a conversation with them. And the conversation is page 49, 50, 51. If you don't have 200 people that you can call that with, then sign up for some Toastmasters clubs, sign up with some Chamber of Commerce's, start to just Google service providers, right? And just think, like, okay, gosh, start with the letter A. Like, what, you know, that could be somebody who does auto body work, right? Start with the letter B. That could be a beautician. That could be a blind maker. You know, they make window treatments and stuff like that. And just start to build a relationship with those people. And just like Dan does, for Dan to talk to the anesthesiologist, Dan doesn't need to know much information. He just needs to know, hey, it's a human, and just start having a conversation. Does that make sense? So it's like, don't overthink it.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, sometimes where we as realtors get in trouble, is we just overthink, and we think ourselves out of success. And then second thing on the calendar I'm looking at is calling lead conversations, right? So following up those leads that we have. New lender conversations, that's what Dan's kind of talking about. You really want to spend 90 minutes a week, and in my opinion, just clump it all into one section, but call lenders. And for those of us who are at the 3-day event, anybody want to quickly role play that with me?
I will.
All right, awesome. So I'll be the potential lender and you be the realtor.
Find my script then.
It's
boy.
called Monday Mastery for a reason.
I need that script. I need that script. I need that script. I wasn't there.
All right, I'll get you the script.
Surely you know the page, Jonathan. What's that page? Oh wait, I just found it.
Oh, nice. I'm guessing it's page.
Lender, right?
Yeah,
53.
lenders. 53.
Okay, ring ring.
Hello.
Hi there. Do I give my name?
Sure.
With Cascade Sotheby's, and I'm just wondering if I was going to get a new home loan, who would I talk to?
Oh, that'd be me. I'm the lender here.
Oh, great. What was your name?
I'm Jonathan.
Nice to chat with you. I just have some simple questions for you. One is, if you could earn an additional $80,000 within the next 12 months and can continue to do that on an annual basis by changing what you're doing, would you do it?
It depends.
Well, it's pretty simple. You know, if it's going to cost you what it's going to cost. Oh, what it's going to cost you is you're going to have to be really focused while you do this. Are you okay with that?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I'm focused, sometimes I'm not.
Yeah, well, you know, keep in mind that this is going to bring you an additional $80,000 within the next 12 months. If you that's year over year. So I'll just tell you a little bit more about it. To earn that additional $80,000 was 45 minutes a day. Focused. Are you still interested in making this commitment?
Yeah, I mean, do you want to know about our interest rates? And we have some really cool programs. We have a Cloud9 title program, and we got a super duper widget program, and we got the the people who don't age and they still look like they're 25 years old program.
I want that one.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, you know, that's all great. I'd love to talk sometime about that. But first, let me tell you a little bit about how I can help you make $80,000 a year, an additional $80,000 a year. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Okay, so basically, you're just going to need to get on the phone and make 7 outbound phone calls a day to people that already know you, like you, and trust you. Are you still interested?
Sure. I kind of do
Okay,
that
well-
now. I mean, I make phone calls to people and, you know, that kind of stuff already.
That's great.
Well, you know, I mean, I make, I don't know, probably 50 outbound phone calls a day. I don't get, you know, massive results, but I make phone calls.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, you know, let me explain the kinds of conversations you need to have when you make those phone calls, and I guarantee it'll make a big difference. You want to hear about those?
Sure.
So this is what I do and is successful for me, and this is really what you must do. So now I go explain the top 50, blah, blah. Okay, so what you want to do is make 7 to 10 phone calls a day to the top 150 to 200 people that know you, trust you. Does that sound good? So that could be anybody. That could be, you know, the person that does your hair. That could be, you know, it could be a past customers, current customers. It could be, you know, people that you've met just in other kind of business situations, or friends, acquaintances. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Great. I have to go to another page now. Should I go through that? You want me to go through that?
Yeah. So you're doing really good, Stacy. So the key is you kind of just going next and next and next. And many times at this point, what I might do too is I might be like, wow, you sound really, really interested. Let's do this. Why don't I come to your office in the next 60 minutes? And I'm going to print out page 49, 50, 51, right? Or I can email it to you. And let's go over this, because you might be making 50 phone calls a day, but I'm telling you, if you make 7 to 10 using this method, you're probably going to start getting 1 really good introduction a day just by making 7 to 10. So I think that'll help you a lot too. And then explain to me some of the numbers of it, if you don't mind, Stacy.
Sure.
Or should I review it for you?
Yeah, that would be great. Or tell me what page it's on.
Okay, awesome. I'll review it, because we probably all need it, right? But remember on one of the probably 90 Post-it notes, I put on there that it's really more than 80,000 they're going to make. So let's use the
Oh,
number of they're going to call 200 people a month, and let's use the number that they're going to make 10 phone calls a day. So that means there are 20 days. So 20 days, and each time they make 10 calls, they're going to get one really good introduction. And so I would jot these numbers down, because this is what you're going to basically be telling lenders, right? Okay. So you're going to make 200 calls a month. You're going to get one good introduction for every 10 people you call. That's just kind of the statistics of it. So that means you're going to have 20 good introductions. Out of those 20 good introductions, let's say you meet with 8 of those people, right? The other 12, you just never meet with them. But 8 of those people you actually have an initial consultation with. And then out of that, let's say only 2 of those people turn into business. Just 2. So when that happens, Mr. and Mrs. Lender, what's a typical loan price for you, would you say? And I would ask
500. Yeah, 500,000. Oh, we switched calls. 500,000.
Awesome. So 500,000. So then I just do the math and I just say, okay, cool. So 500,000 times, how much do you make per loan?
1%.
1%. Awesome. That's pretty standard. So that's that would be how much additional income to that lender?
Okay, so I have 2, I don't know. 2 per month, I think, is that what we came up with?
Yeah,
Times,
2 per
so
month.
that'd be $1 million times 1%. That would be 100,000.
10,000. Yeah.
Somebody help me with the math.
Yeah.
10,000.
10,000. Awesome. So $10,000. So that's 10,000 times 12. That's an extra $120,000 to that lender, right? But I'm guessing just by you doing this dialogue, Mr. and Mrs. Lender, the rest of your whole business is going to just take on a different aura, a different fragrance. Does that make sense? And I got to tell you this, like, I'm going to be doing the same thing. So I'm making my telephone calls as well, because you guys are. And then when somebody needs a loan, who do you think you're going to send them to? I'm going to send them to you, Stacy, right? Because when I first started the phone call, one of the things I tell them is, hey, I'm looking for a lender that I can send all my business to. Remember that? So I'm looking for a lender I can send all my business to, and in return, all I'm looking is for you to send me $1 million of business a month. Is that something you can do? And so
Sure.
I'm going to send you that same amount. So that's another $120,000 of income. So really, Mr. or Mrs. Lender, by you doing this, you're going to earn an additional, like not even counting what you're currently earning, you're going to earn an additional $250,000 of income a year. Or more, probably more. But let's just stick with $250,000 because we just met like 6 minutes ago, so I don't want to totally have you implode as of combustion. So that's pretty awesome. So now that you know that that money is basically there waiting for you, and I'm telling you, you're probably going to be like my friend Dan, right, who's been a realtor for 37.5 years, grinding it out, and now he starts following this system, and it's like he's happy. Does that make sense? So it's not a system, Mr. and Mrs. Lender, where you're going to have to like grind it out, begrudgingly do the work. It's like you can't wait until you wake up in the morning to talk to 10 new people. And a lot of these people already know you, like you, trust you. It's pretty cool. You get paid $250,000 to have conversations with people. That's pretty sweet. And so then I would transition to one of these next questions where it says, let's flip the roles again, Stacy, and you go back to being the realtor and I'll be the lender.
Okay.
And start with the question. So now that you know.
Okay. Okay. So now that you know what to do, you think you'll do it?
Oh.
Say, will you do it?
Yeah. Well, today's a busy day for me. I got Title IX to figure out. I got blah, 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 blah to figure out.
Well, you know, I just would think maybe a little bit about that number again. And, you know, how would you spend that additional $80,000?
Great question. Wow. Gosh, if I had an extra 80,000, which is really, now that you've explained it to me, $250,000, I would probably, I would not feel guilty having my house repainted. So I would repaint the house, and I'd probably spend $10,000 on it because I don't even care about money at this point.
Yeah. Well, what else? I mean, that's a lot more money than what it'll cost to paint your house. Tell me a little more. What else would you do?
Awesome. And what I like to say there, Stacy, is, okay, so let's see. So 250 minus 10. So, okay, you got 240,000 left to spend. What else? And then I'd say, well, you know, some of my outdoor furniture, you know, just starting to get a little old. And I could probably use some new chairs. So maybe that's 4,000.
Yeah. So let's do that math again. So now we're at 250 minus 10, that's 240. You've still got 235, 234 to go, something like that. What would you spend that on?
Nice, Stacy. Great. Well then, I don't know. I mean, I really should. Well, I guess my son and daughter, they're both going to college, and I guess instead of taking out loans, I could just pay for it in cash. So maybe that's maybe 50,000.
Yeah, that's great. Well, boy, that would be such a relief. So now we're at what, 190,000. You still have, you know, a lot of money to spend. What else might you do with that money?
Well, let's see, 190 left to go. I'd probably, I'd probably go on a vacation. I haven't been on a vacation in 17 and a half years. And
that sounds good.
I'd go on a vacation.
Yeah. Well, tell me more. Where would you like to go?
Beautiful question, Stacy. Well, let's see. I'd probably go to Merritt Island in Florida.
Why Merritt Island? Tell me more. Why Merritt Island in Florida?
I have a new client there. Her name is Cindy. So I'd like to visit her, plus to kind of check out the island. And she was telling me some great things for the kids to do and that kind of stuff.
Fun. Well, you know, you just got to keep thinking about it because you still have a lot more money to spend if you start doing this. So, you know, maybe after you get off the phone, you could spend a little bit of time writing down some other great things you'd do with that money.
Yeah.
So how's that sound?
That sounds really good. And by Stacy doing that, or by you guys doing that, that makes this money become more real. Does that make sense? Otherwise, it's just like, hey, you're going to make an additional 80,000, and it's like, okay, who cares? You know, been there, done that kind of thing. And it's like, no, you're really going to make this amount, and then what would you spend it on, right? And what I like to help people with is to say, so they go, hey, so we got 190,000 left, so we'd go on vacation. Cool. Where would you go? And then what quality of a vacation would it be on? Does that make sense? Like, you could even say, like, you know what? How about this? You got so much money at this point. How about fly first class? Have you ever flown first class? And people might be like, I would never do that. And it's like, well, but this is like free money. This is like additional income to what you currently have, right? So why not spend, I don't even know what a plane ticket costs to Florida on first class, but let's just say 5,000. That's probably absurdly high, but you know what I mean? And then, hey, like, where are you going to stay? Are you going to stay at the Motel 6? Or let's stay at a resort, you know? And how about, does that kind of make sense? And so you're just because
Paint the picture.
paint the picture, because you got to realize most people, remember that video that said average and beautiful? Most people have been walking through that door of average for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. Does that make sense? And it's just like, it's just so ingrained, like, that's what it is. I earn $92,000 a year as a lender, and I guess that's what I'll earn forever. And it's like, no, it doesn't have to be that way. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to call 10 people a day, just like I call 10 people a day, right? And we're going to hold each other accountable to make those phone calls. But oh gosh, when you call 10, Mr. and Mrs. Lender, and I call 10, basically we're helping each other make an additional $250,000 of income. And to me, that's really exciting. And it's not only about the income, it's about giving these people, giving these buyers and sellers a VIP experience, which is so different. Does that make sense? And what I mean by that, it's like when a seller comes to me with their whole list of like things they got to do, I like kind of, here, give me your whole list of things that you think you need to do. And I just take the whole list, I kind of close it up, and you know, okay, I got it covered. Let's get the house listed. We'll cover all these things before closing. But right now, what we need to do, we need to get your house listed. Or, hey, we'll cover all those things when you're buying a house, but for now, let's go out and look at houses. Does that make sense? It's very different. And I don't know if I did this at the 3-day event or not, but I don't get people pre-approved before we go look at houses. I just go show them houses, right? And some realtors pass out and they go, you don't get people pre-approved? I'm like, no, I typically don't get people pre-approved until the day we're writing an offer. And some people are like, well, don't you get burned? Yeah. Remember, you get to get to awesome success, you got to go through some failures or some no's. But I'd much rather do it that way, because to me, it's like I'm trusting people, versus do it the way where it's like, hey, we just met on the phone. Are you pre-approved? Does that make sense? And hey, let's get you pre-approved. Let's get you a blood test. Let's see if you're, you know, positive or negative, whatever, before I touch you, because you might need to be quarantined, and I don't want to touch you. Like that would be a bad way to run a business. Does that make sense? That would be like Target saying, hey, thank you, Yashu, for coming in, and thanks, Jonathan, but before we let you into the gates of Target, we need to see your wallet. We need to verify that you have money. We need to pre-run your credit card to make sure that if you do buy $10 worth of Tide and peanut M&Ms, that you actually have money to pay for it. Like most people would be like, I'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna go to Walmart, or I'm just gonna go to, does that make sense? And so Target, Starbucks, every other business on global earth is like, come on in, right? But in real estate, the mentality is, hey, stop, let's get you pre-approved. Does that make sense? And I'm just kind of, I think I'm a breath of fresh air to Joe Q Public. And you are gonna be a breath of fresh air to Joe Q Public. Does that make sense? Because they're just gonna be like, wow, working with Stacy, Sean, Nicole, Maureen, Grieg, Carrie, Greg, Debbie, Dan, Kurt, Claire, Cindy, and the rest of the crew, working with these people is so easy. They just make it easy and fun. Does that make sense? So, and especially since most of the people we're going after are like second-time buyers, third-time buyers, fourth-time buyers, right? They've already been through a traditional real estate experience a few times. So then when they interact with you, it's like, this is incredible. I wish I would have met you 9 years ago when we first bought our first house, or whatever the case might be. Does that make sense? And so I guess to sum up a little bit too, all of this is about progress, not perfection. Does that make sense? So when you see on your calendar, okay, call my ultimate 200 people, do the best you can with the information that you have as of today. Does that make sense? And I guarantee you this, 6 months from now, there's more little pieces that I'm going to give you that are going to make it better and better and better. But it's like step one is, hey, you just got to start. Does that make sense? And same with the lender conversations, the builder conversations, the thank you cards, you know, doing 2 open houses a weekend. Yeah, I mean, that's truly the way to catapult yourself to that success that you're, you know, looking for. So awesome. Was this helpful?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes, it was.
Very helpful.
What'd you guys get from it?
I get that I'm not following my script like I should be.
I love your honesty, Dan.
I found out that they,
I'm brutally honest.
That's right. You're brutally honest.
I think,
I,
you know,
I have 2 questions.
Yeah, fire away.
You did not bring up today, I don't believe, when you give me $500,000 worth of business a month, I'll give you all of my business. Are we like fading away from using that?
No, I like that. So I tell people, hey, and I would say for some of us, we're in areas where $1 million of business a month is very doable, right? I used to tell lenders, hey, I'm looking for you to send me $500,000 of business a month. I've just upped it. So I'm just like, okay, forget it. Let's just go $1 million. I'm looking for you to send me $1 million of business a month. Is that something you think you can do?
Well, but I guess what I'm looking at doing here, because I see how you're looking at progress and not perfection when you start dealing with loan officers, just like with anyone else. You're probably not going to get the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, 17th, 23rd loan officer you talk to as excited about this as you are about doing it. And so you may end up with 4 or 5 different loan officers, but you just keep your mouth shut to each individual one. You don't say, oh, okay, I've got 3 others I'm working here also.
Yeah, so if I'm hearing you right, you're saying hypothetically, let's say I'm doing this and I call Stacy and I say, Stacy, hey, would you do it? And Stacy says, and all of you are lenders. And Stacy goes, yep, I'll do it. Well, cool. I'm still going to call Sean, the next lender, because Stacy hasn't sent me $500,000 of business a month. Sometimes what happens, it'd be really easier for me to go, oh, Stacy says she's going to send me $500,000 of business, so I guess I'm going to stop calling lenders. And that's not the best thing to do.
Now,
yeah.
Okay. And one other question. I'm going to make a statement here, and I'm going to just make a statement, and I would like you to complete the statement, because I'm not doing this like I should be doing it on the script for the 150 people, and now I guess you're calling it the 200 people. 7 minutes before my next appointment. What's new in your world?
Yeah, so now we're flipping to where you're actually.
What do you say next after you say what's new in your world? Continue that statement, please.
Oh, so Dan, what's new in your world? What's cooking with your family? What's going on occupation-wise? What are you doing for Halloween? Are you dressing up as a giraffe or a pumpkin? Like what's cooking?
Okay, the last 2 or 3 words broke off. I heard what's cooking, and then I can't hear the other words you said.
Yeah, so basically, I really don't care what we talk about. I just care that you talk. And so I go, hey, so Dan, so what's going on in your family? What are you doing for your bride? How's your nephew doing who's back in West Virginia? You know, what are you doing job-wise? What are you doing for Halloween? What's cooking?
Okay, all right. I understand that better. I never had that. I never had that together.
Yeah. So awesome. So from what we learned today, what are some things that stood out to you of things that you could like implement today and this week that would make a massive difference for you?
Well, what I got put together from today, I set an IC for tomorrow, and I told her I was sending her some papers. She said, well, I don't want to sign a contract. I said, no, I don't want you to sign a contract. You know, I want to find out what it is you want to accomplish, and I have 7 questions to ask you. So now I'm comfortable. When I go in this appointment tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to begin with my 3 promises, and then what I'll do for you and with you, and then my 3 guarantees for seller performance, and then do my IC. And I'm going to say I'm going to recommend that we go ahead and get the house on the market right now so we can get this sold.
Exactly, because that's what they want to do. Just like if we went into Starbucks, they would say, well, what I recommend you do is you buy a cup of coffee. Right? And
You crap, I couldn't hear you.
yeah, so if we went into Starbucks today, Starbucks hopefully would tell us the same thing. They'd be like, wow, thanks for coming in. It seems like you want to buy some coffee. So what I recommend you do is you buy some coffee. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Okay, so for the rest of us, what are some things that you learned or relearned or quadruple learned that you can put into action today or this week?
I think, you know, just that going through the dialogue right there made me realize how comfortable it is. You know, I've been like, oh, this can be so uncomfortable, but it's seemed pretty comfortable. I mean, I'm definitely going to start calling lenders. Why not?
Awesome. Awesome. Great job, Stacy. How about Greg, or Dan, or Cindy?
Yeah, I'll chime in. Yeah, so for me is I have been starting to reach out and work with some, you know, reestablish some connections with lenders that I've worked with in the past. And the biggest thing that I need to do is figure out a way to easily compile a list of mortgage officers in my area and get referrals from there. I actually had a referral come in last week for a commercial property of the Pizza Hut in Maryland the other day. So just random. So it's crazy since I've been working when you just you know how much like the tap's been starting to turn on and just the short amount of time and how much more active I've been. And granted, I've still got a lot of improvement to make since I'm probably actually implementing about 1% of what you do right now. So yeah, I'm excited as I learn more, you know, the potential that I see.
That's awesome. Just think when you implement 3%. Right? That's awesome. So it's good that you're doing 1%, and just think when you go to 3, that'll be great. Okay, so real quick, if I got dropped into Hilo, Hawaii, and I don't know anybody, I would call up some title companies or escrow companies, and I would just tell them, hey, who's your top, you know, producer for title company? And they'd go, that's Vicki Everly. And I get Vicki on the phone and be like, hey, Vicki, my name's Jonathan. I'm a realtor. I'm brand new to Hilo. Been here for 45 minutes. And I'm looking for your top 5 lenders. who are the lenders that just send you the most amount of really nice people, like really nice people. So it doesn't mean the top 5 producers. It means the top 5 people that are nice and send you a good amount of business. What's their name and phone number? And Vicky is more than happy to give me that information, right? Because she just wants more business from me as well. And she's like, oh, you're going to want to call Cindy. You're going to want to call Kurt, Dan, and Debbie. They're the top 5. Okay, cool. So then, do you see how that works, Greg? Or for anybody? I mean, it's just...
Yeah. Honestly, title companies was never even a route that I had considered going. So that's definitely an option worth pursuing.
Yeah, and I could call 100 title companies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Anything else anybody want to share? We got like 2 minutes, and then we got to like zap.
Hey, Jonathan.
Ooh, what does Stacy have on there? Do you mind reading that, Stacy?
I'll send this to everybody. It says, whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it.
Yeah.
Wolfgang von Goethe, I guess that's how you pronounce it. See?
Nice. Nice job,
Woo.
Wolfgang. I love it. Awesome, Stacy. Yeah, Dan, you're going to say something.
Yeah, Jonathan, I was going to say my biggest takeaway from today is getting my top 200 going. And also, I had a meeting this morning with my team, and we're going to set up by tomorrow 9 open houses for this Saturday. So we look forward to it, and I'll definitely give you the results next week.
Oh, 9 opens. Oh, my gosh.
Yes, sir.
I mean, oh, my gosh. By Dan doing 9 opens, do you think he'll interact with some new buyers and sellers?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have to get them and you know, I talked to them for a little bit this morning. I explained to them that, hey, don't worry about doing the pre-qualification for the mortgages, just like you're talking about right now, because we're so used to doing that. Mm-hmm. And it made perfect sense what you just said about, you know, these people in the 700,000 to, let's say, you know, $1 million range. You know, this isn't their first time they're buying a home. So obviously they've already been pre-qualified before in the past, so they should be able to buy a home now. So it's just a different thinking, you know, that we have to get used to, but I love it. It's going to save a lot of time. And we're ready to rock and roll.
Nice. Oh, and it basically all comes down to like assuming the best, right? Just assume the best in people, assume the best in yourself. And I have a friend car dealership in Minnesota, and he lets people test drive his cars. It's called Pocket Auto. I should send you his web address. He started selling 2 cars at a time. Now he sells about 500 cars a month, and they're high-end used cars, right? Every car has the set of keys like on the seat, and you don't have to give your driver's license. You don't do anything. You can just come and test drive a car. There's no questions asked, right? And people thought he was nuts because people are like, you can't do that. People are going to steal your cars and this and that. It hasn't happened, right? And he's been around for, man, close to 18 years now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Okay, anybody else want to share something real quick, and then we'll zap? Going once? Going twice? Okay, so put the stuff into action. Oh my gosh, sometime today, I'll send everybody a link so that you can join our private Facebook group. Right? So on the private Facebook group, put anything you want, but I recommend put down things that you're doing well at, put down things that you're being challenged with, right? Like, man, I know I should do this, but I just don't feel like doing it, right? So we can support each other. Put down photos of like your favorite grandchild. Well, that's bad. Put down photos of all your grandkids, right? Whatever it is that pumps you up and gets you awake in the morning, like we want to support you in that. So, so that'll go out. I'll send out to you probably by the end of today the groups that you guys are going to be in for the Wednesday small group accountability groups. And we're in those groups for usually 90 days. And then after 90 days, we rotate. I'm sure there's other stuff out there too, but my brain's fried. So, oh my gosh, go make a difference today, right? Go have fun and progress, not perfection. All right, see you, rock stars. Bye.